According to YouTube, tags these days aren't very important and are mostly used for misspellings. I'm not going to argue with that, but what I will offer you is a musical interlude. Yeah, it's about as long as I spend on tags these days. What I will also add is that by researching tags and indeed keywords in a broader spectrum, it gives you a better understanding of the language used in your video topic. I like to call this your keyword universe, and you can use all of these words and phrases to better inform your video ideas, your titles, your thumbnails, your descriptions, which do still have a matter of importance. Also, I don't want to say we told you so, but we did make a video ages ago about this very question, which is still worth watching today. And here's the thing about tags. No matter what all of us YouTube educators say about tags, we still fill out that box even when we're making videos about why tags are not important anymore. Now then, hey folks, I'm Rob, welcome back to vidIQ, educating and indeed entertaining you on your YouTube journey. And today's lesson is all about those common questions you ask as creators when it comes to getting noticed and discovered on YouTube. For full transparency, a lot of what you're going to watch in this video is my understanding and interpretation of this fantastic video from Creator Insider. I don't want to take credit where credit is not due, but I always like to add my spin onto what YouTube is talking about. One thing creators always worry about, especially when they've had a little bit of success with their YouTube channel, is making one mistake that completely destroys their channel. Well, according to YouTube, that's simply not the case. The truth, according to YouTube, is that each video is assessed on how it performs with an audience. It relies more on video level signals as opposed to channel level signals. YouTube go on to say that if videos were treated on a channel basis, then it would be much less likely that any video could potentially go viral on YouTube, although some creators may advocate for that. Now, having said all of this, we are only talking about single videos not impacting the overall performance of the channel. If you continue to create videos that underperform, then maybe YouTube at a discovery level is going to have to reassess who your videos should be targeted to in terms of viewers wanting to watch your content. Also, you have to appreciate that larger channels will get more views from their videos because they have a larger distribution platform. And I will always say this, you found original success on YouTube by experimenting and doing new things, whatever they are, even if it was your very first video. So never be afraid to continue experimenting. Your YouTube channel is not made of glass. If you make one mistake, it's not going to shatter all over the floor. This is one of these long-standing assumptions or myths that if you publish a video and it's not performing very well, then you can just change the thumbnail and the title and YouTube will automatically reassess a video from scratch. But according to YouTube, that's simply not the case. So to put that into context, if your video is performing poorly and you tweak it, it's not automatically going to raise the profile of it. And vice versa, if your video is performing well and you tweak it, it's not automatically going to drag it down. But what it will do when you change the thumbnail and the title is reset an audience's expectation as they encounter it on YouTube. Now, having said that, we published this video with the following title, and to be honest, we were a little disappointed in its performance. So to figure out why this was, we did a quick search on YouTube and discovered this video with a similar title and 1 million views. So on this occasion, we just admitted defeat and copied their title. We're not proud of it, but 10 months after publishing the original video, we were willing to try anything. But believe it or not, the title change did have an immediate effect on the video's performance. Admittedly, nothing incredible, but a positive upswing nonetheless. Now, let me stress at this point, I am not suggesting to you that you go through all of your videos and change the titles of every single one of them to the video that ranks highest for that particular search term. This is not a hack in any way. I guess what I'm saying is that if you think a video should be performing better than it is, and the content is as valuable as it is now as it was when you first published it, then maybe you should do some research onto how to tweak it. As for videos that are already performing well, I wouldn't necessarily think about tweaking the thumbnail and the title of that video. I would be simply thinking about making more videos that are based on that successful piece of content. I can only go off what YouTube say here, but according to a study of thousands of channels, they found no correlation between taking a break and a negative impact on views for the channel. And again, from a discovery point of view, YouTube says there is no bias that punishes channels for taking a break. Now, having said that, I think this is the one that I have most unanswered questions about. YouTube tells us that the algorithms are designed to serve the right content to the viewer. So to put it simply, if you're publishing 3 or 4 videos a week and then all of a sudden you take a break and you don't publish any videos for 3 or 4 weeks, what does that mean for your audience? If you are in a very competitive, saturated space such as gaming, then YouTube is constantly going to need to find new content to serve that hungry gaming audience. Those viewers' watching habits have changed, so when you return, you're not necessarily top of their mind. But of course, there are exceptions to this rule when there is an expectation in a break between content, say if you are an animation channel. And more importantly, if you create such unique content that viewers simply can't get from anywhere else, then they're prepared to wait. Mr. Beast and Mark Rober being very typical examples of this. But we do need to tie a bow around this question by saying this: your mental wellness is far more important than a YouTube schedule. Don't create at a pace that's going to burn you out, and if you need to take a break, do it. In the long term, YouTube's not going anywhere. Funnily enough, we talked about this topic in a recent video. One of the reasons why people aren't watching your videos is because you're not sending positive data back to YouTube, particularly in terms of click-through rate and audience retention. But what if your data is good and you still feel YouTube isn't rewarding you with more discoverability? Well, according to YouTube, it might be because similar videos on that topic are performing even better than yours. This often happens when you're tackling a news story or a trending topic and everybody else on YouTube is trying to do exactly the same thing. So if your click-through rate on the latest iPhone 13 leaks is 10%, that's fantastic, but YouTube's also found this video on the same topic that has 12% click-through rate. I will also add this from my personal point of view. Sometimes it's not enough just to have one video that performs well. You sent YouTube some positive signals in terms of your analytics? Great. Now do it again, and again, and again. Make all of your content, analytically speaking, impossible to ignore by YouTube's recommendation system. This is another one of those long-standing myths/assumptions that has some basic logic to it. I mean, surely if a video is monetized, it's in YouTube's best interest to promote it in order to earn more ad revenue. But, and to YouTube's credit, they have been saying this for a very long time, the recommendation system does not know which videos are monetized. By the way, if you are wondering what I mean when I keep saying YouTube's recommendation system, we've done an entire video on this over here. Having said that, let me throw a curveball into this. YouTube can now monetize any video on the platform, even if the channel isn't in the YouTube Partner Program. So theoretically speaking, that means that YouTube could monetize every single video on the platform, but it obviously isn't. It's cherry picking those videos that are performing well from channels that are not in the monetization program. This is a conspiracy theory, isn't it? Joking aside, there's no better channel of debunking this monetization assumption than our own. The vidIQ channel hasn't earned a single cent of ad revenue, and I think within the YouTube growth education space, we've been fairly successful with nearly 1 million subscribers and over 60 million views. Although you could argue that maybe the channel could have done even better if we had monetized our videos. I have often thought about monetizing 5 of our evergreen videos for a month to see if it would increase discovery and views, but I've never pulled the trigger. I don't know, what do you think? Should I test it? Let us know in the comments. Now, on the flip side of this question, in my experience, copyright claims don't negatively impact videos. This video did indeed get a copyright claim, but it still pitched its tent at the top of the search rankings along with 500,000 views. But don't take this as me suggesting to you that you should use copyrighted content on your videos. If you watch the video, you'll understand why we did that in that particular example, and of course you can never monetize any of those videos with copyright claims. There are actually two questions rolled into one here. The first revolves around the state of the video, be it published, unlisted, private, and so on. According to YouTube, what matters is how viewers respond to the video once it's published. So I assume that to mean that if a video is unlisted, it's not technically in YouTube's recommendation system. Of course, what you do need to be wary of is placing a published video back into a private or unlisted state if it's recently been published, say in the last 72 hours. What you're likely to do there is destroy the video's early velocity, and we'll talk about that now with YouTube's next question. According to YouTube, it doesn't matter when you publish your video. It has no known impact on the long-term performance of a video. But let's use a little bit of common sense here. Viewer, if I publish a video at 3 AM in the morning, are you going to wake up to watch it? Nah. Putting aside time-sensitive content, which you should publish as soon as you can, I do believe that publishing videos at a certain time of the day will impact how your video performs. If you look at your real-time stats over the last 48 hours when you haven't published a video, you'll notice a natural cadence to your channel where views rise and fall throughout the day. And so, as a result of this, it makes all the sense in the world to publish your video when your audience is online, since typically your video will get most of its views in its very first hour, at least until YouTube decides to weave its magic. This isn't rocket science really, is it? The common sense approach is to publish your video as your channel's views are trending up for the day. And it seems to work for us. This one's pretty easy to answer. According to YouTube, changing the location of your channel does not impact the reach of your content with your viewers, no matter where they are in the world. And it's probably not a good idea to mess around with your channel location, since you do sign agreements depending on your country when it comes to the YouTube Partner Program. At a video level, you can set a location which will override any hashtags you've included in the video, but as for if it will help your video, well, to be honest, they're probably as useful as hashtags in doing just that. This is another one where YouTube are basically saying what you generally assume isn't the case. YouTube have done lots of studies that suggest that uploading daily doesn't necessarily improve the performance of your channel and indeed individual videos. But this is a very general answer, and I really do think it depends on the niche that you're in and your target audience. Put simply, different audiences, different demographics have different expectations and a different amount of patience. Let's take the vidIQ audience as an example. I think that you as an audience aren't too bothered about super high quality, professionally filmed, extremely tightly edited videos that take weeks to make. You would much rather prefer a steady stream of really valuable YouTube education content. Probably not on a daily basis, but 2 or 3 videos a week along with some live streams. I think if we went daily, we would see a small uptick in views, but we would completely burn ourselves out doing it. But on the other hand, I think if we went weekly or bi-weekly, we would see a huge reduction in views. But you know what? I could be completely wrong. So your code word for this video to put in the comments to confuse everybody who didn't get this far into the video is simply more or less videos from vidIQ.